Hey guys, and welcome to this Malaysia Grand Prix preview. As you can see, you got some more R-Factor gameplay in the background. I hope you guys enjoy. This is European Formula 3, by the way. We're riding on board with Roberto Merhi, who's also driving for Mana this year. As you can see, he's actually in his Mana Formula 3 car from 2007, so it's actually the same year where we had Valtteri Bottas and Esteban Gutierrez, as you'll see later on. We also have Jules Bianchi as well in there, so you know, hashtag Jules, hashtag Forza Jules. But getting on to the main point of this, video is obviously to name the qualifying and also the race. You know, who comes away in the race. And I have to admit, we had quite a stunner of a race in Australia, with obviously not being as good as Bahrain last year, and of course that race in Canada. Where Ricciardo won for the first time ever, so it's going to be quite interesting because we've got Lewis Hamilton, who just recently won the first race in Australia, alongside Rosberg in second. Vettel came third in his Ferrari, which was very, very fast. So that shows you how good the Ferrari's pace is this year. But I'm quite interested to see who does well in this one. I think from what I remember last year, Williams wasn't the strongest bunch, and Ferrari wasn't either, but I think this year we could easily say that out of the two teams this year between Williams and Ferrari, I think it's safe to say that Ferrari's going to have the edge until, say, well, that is until we get to around, I think, well, Italy is obviously, Italy is quite an open track, and top speed is what matters there, so I think Williams will do quite well, but hey, that's for the Italian Grand Prix preview, not this one. So, obviously there's the two long straights, you know, you've got the back straight and you've got the long home straight, you know, the start-finish one. So, I think Williams will prevail there, whereas the Ferraris won't be as quick. I think they'll still have some good top speed though, and with Vettel's driving, if he does the same as what he did in Australia, I think he can easily pull away from the Williams. That is unless the Williams of Massa and Bottas, well, both Williams of Massa and Bottas put up a good fight against both Ferraris, you know, Raikkonen and Vettel. Definitely keep a close eye on the Saubers, Ericsson and Nasa, or Nasa, I don't know how you pronounce it, but Felipe Massa, as I say. Definitely keep an eye out for them now. Obviously, Felipe did very, very well in both Felipes. Actually, did very well, finishing 4th and 5th. You know, one in the Williams and one in the Sauber. So I'm expecting him to. He probably won't do as good as he did in Australia because obviously there was a lot of retirements in the race. But I think for a fact that we're going to have, we're going to be having the car of Nasa, the Sauber will be probably finish around 7th, I think, in the race. Ericsson will probably he might finish out the points by the looks of things. Speaking of teams, we've got Toro Rosso, and obviously Sykes did a good job to bring the Toro Rosso home, and I think it was 9th in Australia. He couldn't defend well enough from Ericsson. I mean, he tried his best, but at the end of the day, he couldn't. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we've got, like I said, Force India will be fighting probably with McLaren Honda. Fernando Alonso is also going to be making his return after he had to sit out the Australian Grand Prix, which was a bit of a downer. I actually felt like, you know, because he's not there, as I said in the Australian Grand Prix preview, felt like a bit of me had disappeared because he wasn't there. It just didn't feel right with him not being there. Hopefully we've got a bit of a better race going up and down the field. Obviously you can expect the two Mercs to take the lead from the very start and just pull away. But I think between the cars in general, I think we're going to see, hopefully we can actually see Mana, so this lad on the screen here, Roberto Merhi, and of course Will Stevens. Hopefully we can see them two put in a good performance for the Mana team at the first outing properly, the proper first outing of Mana Motorsport. Or Russia, whatever they're called. And I think also, like the Sauber should be putting in a good performance. McLaren should hopefully put in a good performance as well, as will Force India. Toro Rosso, I'm expecting Max Verstappen to hopefully get in the top 10 this time and stay there, not retire from like 15 laps from the end of the race, which I thought was a bit of a disappointment as we go for another spin there. Anyway, moving on to that. Moving on from that, we're going to go straight into the predictions. Who I think is going to take pole and obviously the top 5 for race. So, predictions, qualifying. I reckon this is probably going to sound bugsy, but I will definitely say, biased. I will definitely say Lewis Hamilton will take pole. I reckon he'll then go on to win the race like he did last year. I expect Rosberg to be within about 2 seconds, or maybe even take the lead halfway through. But I think overall Lewis will win the race by about half a second. So I predict that it's going to be a very close racing between the two Mercs. I think that Vettel will put in another good performance to come third, and then the two Williams, so 4th and 5th. And then as for the 6th to 10th, I reckon that'll be a mix of the Saubers, the McLaren Honda team, the Toro Rosso, and Force India. So I reckon Hulkenberg will be 6th, but I'm not going to predict any further on. But what are your guys' thoughts? And as always, make sure you hit that like button and obviously hit the subscribe button. It always helps me no matter what. So hopefully the Malaysian Grand Prix will be exciting, and I hope you enjoy this. Be sure to leave your predictions for your pole position and top 5. I'll see you guys in my next video. Ta-ra!